Hello everybody, Queen Bee here with a little video on how to hunt in Icarus. Today we're going to take a look at my top 15 hunting tips for this awesome new survival game. 15 tips sure to help you bag yourselves a carcass of 50. So buckle up bunnies, because we're going on a hunting trip taking an in-depth look at everything you'll need to know or want to know about hunting on planet Icarus. First, we're going to take a look at crafting priorities, and the first thing you need to know is that everything you need to hunt is locked initially and only accessible through leveling. But on the plus side, literally everything you do will give you XP. So gather, chop and mine, and you'll unlock at least the first couple of levels within minutes. As soon as you've leveled, you can unlock the resources you need to begin to hunt and defend yourself. As soon as you begin to level, you're going to want to unlock a campfire for cooking and a stone knife for defending and butchering. Next priorities will be a bow and some stone arrows. There's no point in unlocking a bedroll too early, because you can only craft that once you've hunted enough animals and gathered enough leather and fur to do so. Tip number 2 is fishing. Most lakes have got fishing, and you can bow, knife or spear them, or probably punch them to death. Pick them up and cook them straight on your campfire. A little side note is that you do get a buff from cooked fish, so you're going to want to have a little bit of that in your stomachs to help with your health and your stamina. Tip number 3, the predators in the forest and the Arctic biomes are wolves and bears. If there are too many of them or no safe way to pick them off, don't. It'll end in disaster. Back away, use stealth, pass far and wide. It won't always work. They do sometimes see you, but it can really help in a bind. Tip number 4, without a bow, wolves can be easily taken down with a knife. Keep an eye on your health and stab and slash. Alternatively, if you have got a bow, a well-timed shot will take these guys out, no problem. A bow will also work on a flight animal such as a deer and a chamois and a raccoon, but at a push you can run down a raccoon. Tip number 5, stealth. Not only does stealth allow you to crouch and creep past predators and get closer to your prey, but stealth also does an extra 2.5 damage bonus, so you're really going to want to use it whenever you can. Go into crouch, aim your bow, and you are going to get a stealth bonus that could take out an animal in one shot. Tip number 6, bears. Now we're going to talk about bears as a whole. We're looking at bears, polar bears, we're looking at the brown bears. Bears are somewhat tricky. Whether they're polar bears or brown bears, fighting them out in the open is almost always going to end up in disaster. As a beta 3, they can now swim down in the water, so spoofing them in a lake is not going to save you. In addition to this, if you haven't found out already, they can climb rocks. By far the best way to kill a bear right now is to find a cave. Mine out a small crouch space in the entrance of the cave and crawl in. Drag them, pull them to the cave, and pick them off from inside the relative safety of the cave. This works for both polar and brown bears, but it's a pretty good bet. Carrying. Once you've killed your animal, anything smaller than a bear can be carried. For raccoons and baby deer, you can carry them. They go straight into your inventory, your G slot. They end up in there. For wolves and deers, you end up carrying them on your shoulder. This means that you can carry them to an area of relative safety, for example back to your base for skinning on the skinning table, or for strategic placement. Press F to carry, or as I've rebound it, you can see E, and Q to drop. Now, talking about strategic placement, when you leave a carcass lying around, it's going to draw more predators. This means that you can easily hunt by placing a hunting tower, dropping a carcass at the bottom of it, and waiting for more predators to come in. You can then pick them off from the safety of your tower. Tip number 9. Once you have your carcass, you're going to want to select your knife, press F to harvest it. Take everything you can, leather, meat, fur, bones, absolutely everything. They're crucial crafting ingredients. Tip number 10. Once you've looted your carcass, grab your axe and break apart the skeleton for more bones. You'll need these for your next level arrows. Tip number 11 is the skinning bench. As soon as you can unlock this, craft yourself up a skinning bench, and this will allow a bigger yield of bones, fur and leather from your hunt. Just place your animal on the bench, open up the crafting bench, select the animal to skin. Simples. Tip number 12. As of beta 3, the best way to get fur was to place a raccoon on said skinning bench. I believe it gave you something like 30 fur, although this is confirmed as a bug, so don't rely on that and don't expect it to last. Tip number 13. As soon as you have the points and levels, spec into bow and arrows. Once you've reached level 10, spec into a long bow and an iron knife. Later in the game you can craft a recurve bow and a compound bow, aluminium arrows and a hunting rifle, to name but a few. I personally won't spec into flint or iron arrows because I feel there are better uses for the iron. Tip number 14 is talents. There are various talents in the game, but choose wisely because you won't have enough talent points to unlock everything. Personally, I like to spec into bows and blades when it comes to combat talents. Find Butcher and Bone Collector to start with on the hunting talents, and if you're playing solo, do be sure to check out the solo talent tree. Although don't waste your points on solo if you're playing in multiplayer because those points won't work. You'll just have wasted them. Tip number 15 is prime meat. There is a small chance when hunting bears that they will drop prime meat. Now this has an incredibly short lifespan before it spoils, so unless you're literally right on top of your base, stop and craft a campfire. Chuck the prime meat straight in. Do not put any normal meat in the fire until your prime meat has cooked, or the fire will auto-select this over the prime meat. Finally, a little extra hunting related tip. I would caution you against underestimating the firepower needed on the hunting missions, the expeditions. You'll be assigned certain expedition tasks. For example, Beta 3's mission was to hunt and bring back a sample of a mammoth. Don't underestimate what you will need in order to achieve this. There were 3 of us undertaking the mission in Beta 3, and I calculated afterwards that we used at least 11 longbows, about 1k of arrows, 20 shotty shells, and I still had to knife the mammoth to death, so always be more prepared than you think you will need to be. And those are my top 16 hunting tips for Icarus, and I do hope you found them helpful. I'll be making more tutorial videos and discussion videos for this game, which will include some cheeky little spoilers that I've come across. And of course, there's my beta gameplay series, so if you'd like to, do check that out. I do hope you've enjoyed the video and found it helpful. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and sub to the channel. And if you love Icarus, come along to Discord. Link is in the description. We do too. Yeah, thank you for watching, and until next time guys, you stay safe and take care.